Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. So today I'm going to make a short video, a short class on how you can study for prelims, since now only 4 months or so are left for prelims, how you can maximize your marks by actually going through previous year questions, and what are the various techniques you can follow in order to maximize your marks. So one of the top things that I used to do and that used to really help me was studying the previous year questions for UPSC exam. Previous year questions can be studied either by printing out the last 5 years papers of UPSC. So because UPSC website only has 3 to 4 years papers available, so you will have to search for them. So either you can print them out from the UPSC website or from somewhere from Google, and then after that you can study them. And that is one of the ways to study it, because that way you get year wise papers. Or the second way to do it is that you get this book from Disha. I also use this book. This is 27 years of UPSC papers of prelims. This is a Disha book. You can either get this book. I personally use this book a lot. And it has subject wise papers. Basically it does not have year wise classification, it has subject wise classification. So if you look at the table of contents, it has like history of India, ancient, medieval, modern, national movement, and like this it has divided various kind of chapters on the basis of subjects, and then within those chapters they have given papers from back, I don't know from which year, like they go back almost 1990s, so 1995. Like for example, this is the chapter on the structure of Indian economy and demographics, so 1995 to 2021 paper they have. This is the latest one I got, but the one I used obviously had 2016 wala paper. And you can also get the solutions of these particular questions, so you can then study subject wise also to see what kind of trend that subject or what kind of the topics from that subject UPSC was asking. So one option is print them out. I used to do this also, and this I used to do so that I could understand what was the basic trend of UPSC year to year, so that I could understand, okay, last 3 years UPSC has been asking certain kind of questions from a certain kind of subject. This book helps you to understand what are the core topics that are asked almost every year. Like if you look at the economics, for example, economics paper of UPSC, you will see that UPSC always asks question on banking sector. So it might be to do some concept related to the banking sector. For example, interest coverage ratio. This is not that banking related. This is more of a, like for example, this one, commercial paper, certificate of deposit, call money, zero coupon bonds. These are banking and economy related questions. Similarly, there are other like cash reserve ratio. This is something that UPSC has asked year after year, and I will not be surprised that if UPSC continues to ask questions on these, because these are very very core economic topics that see here they have asked about capital adequacy ratio. These are the core UPSC questions, economic questions that every year they bound to show up in, like questions on interest rates. In economics, for example, inflation, bonds, basics of banking, interest rates. These kind of topics are coming in every almost every year or every alternative year. So you can use your old UPSC paper subject wise to understand that. So that is the utility of studying the old papers. And apart from that, you can also see various topics that you need to study, you need to get a mastery of. So for example, let's say you are studying environment, or let's say you are studying, we can pick Indian polity. If we go to section C, right here they have divided. So this is the political system and constitution paper topic, and from they have basically divided in different topics. So here let's see. So usually what I do is I go from the back of the book or back of the chapter, because I want to see the latest questions that were asked. So I will not look at the old questions first, I will look at the new questions first. So in 2021 UPSC has asked this question about which of the following best defines the term state. So what is the definition of the state? that is asked. And now where to study this from? This is not given in Lakshmikant. This is NCRT is one book that you can probably get some idea about this kind of a question. Then it is asking very simple question like what was the exact date, what was the exact constitutional status of India on 26 January 1950. So this is a simple question. You will get this if you've read Lakshmikant. Then concentration of wealth violates which kind of a right? This is application of fundamental rights. So now you see the kind of question UPSC is asking, and then you will understand that you don't need to memorize a particular right or a article, but you need to understand what is the application of a particular right, what is the application of particular article given in the Constitution of India. That is more important. That is the kind of question UPSC is asking. Then here further UPSC has asked questions about, for example, this one: other than fundamental rights, which of the following parts of the Constitution of India reflects the principles and provisions of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? So which parts of the Constitution, preamble, DP, SP and fundamental duties, which actually reflect the principles of Declaration of Human Rights? Now you might not have studied humans Declaration of Human Rights, but it encompasses various rights that should be available to humans. So if you try to connect it through your analytical understanding of this question directly, this you will not be able to answer just by reading Lakshmikant. This is the application of knowledge, application of your mind. So read these questions so that you can get an understanding कि यूपीएससी किस तरह के क्वेश्चन कहाँ से पूछ रही है और आपको किस तरह से पढ़ना चाहिए. See, every year UPSC is asking a lot of these fundamental application based and analytical questions. So that is what you have to prepare for, and that is why I say that at least 3-4 months in advance of the paper, that is now, prelims will be held 4.5 months from now. It is important that you start going through these kind of prelims papers. Now next to that, next thing that you should do is you should perfect the elimination technique. Elimination technique is one of the most amazing techniques because it helps you to get at least those 10-15 marks extra. So just imagine the whole paper is 200 marks. Out of those 200 marks, normally the cutoff goes from anywhere to 100 and 110, So if you're getting extra 10-15 marks just by perfecting the elimination technique, then you are already ahead of a lot of people without even studying that much. See, for elimination technique to succeed, you need to have some idea about the question. That is the first thing. If you don't know at all, you cannot use the elimination technique, then it is very hard. If you know something about the question, if you know something, then you can go ahead and use the elimination technique. So if you know at least that one option is wrong, so out of 4 options, one is wrong, then you can try to attempt it, but make a calculated guess. You have to be a little bit more, you can't be sure that it will be right. But if you have got 2 answers wrong, means out of 4 options you can eliminate 2 and 2 are left, then you should definitely always try to answer that question, because then there is a high chance of you getting that question right. So and this only comes with practice. This knack of getting elimination technique correct only comes with practice. So my suggestion to you is try to perfect the elimination technique. Look at some nice online videos given about elimination technique, both in UPSC context, both without UPSC context, and then you will be able to answer that. Try to perfect your recalling technique. Recalling technique is a technique in which you just try to recall what part of the syllabus that question is from and where you might have studied it. So when you're trying to recall, try to visualize it. Like if you've read it in a book, try to visualize the chapter, try to visualize the table of contents, try to visualize the pictures that you might have seen in that book, try to visualize maybe Google images, or try to visualize the newspaper where you might have read that, or some notes where you might have read that. If you try to visualize it and you have done the visualization when you learned also that particular topic, then even if you don't know it, sometimes it strikes you, at least some related knowledge will strike you, which will help you to get that question right. Okay, so visualization is going to be very important, and recalling along with visualization works really well. And finally, I would say that focus on subjects or questions you are getting right first. So when you're solving a paper, लेट्स से यू हैव गॉट इन यूपीएससी नॉर्मली ए सीरीज पेपर होता है, बी सीरीज होता है, सी सीरीज होता है, डी सीरीज होता है. ऐसे 4 सीरीज के पेपर्स दिए जाते हैं. मतलब यू विल गेट ए क्वेश्चन पेपर, ऑन दैट देयर विल बी ए बी सी डी. So that means either it's a series, B series, then they jumble up the questions so that people don't cheat. Okay, so let's say you get A series. Now A series में polity could be first, B series में economy could be first, C series में environment could be first, and D series could be mixed. So let's say you get A series and the first question is on polity, but you are not good at polity and you don't know that question, or you're finding that question to be too long or too difficult, but your economics is good. So try to quickly jump in A series to find what is the next set of questions. Let's say the next set of questions after 10 questions of polity is economics in A. So try to go to economics and solve those because you are good at them. Or just try to jump to a section where you are starting to get the questions right. तो मेरे साथ क्या होता था जब मैं पेपर शुरू करता था, लेट्स से ये पेपर आया है, मैंने ये मैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 पे चला जाता हूँ. ये पहला क्वेश्चन है यूपीएससी, ये मॉक पेपर मानो यूपीएससी का. मैंने ये पढ़ा क्वेश्चन एंड देन आई एम लाइक ओके आई डोंट नो दिस क्वेश्चन. देन आई रेड द सेकंड क्वेश्चन, ओ आई डोंट नो दिस क्वेश्चन. देन क्विकली मूव ऑन टू सम अदर पार्ट, मूव ऑन टू लाइक लेट्स से क्वेश्चन नंबर 21 एंड सी ओके ये इकोनॉमिक्स का सेक्शन है, फिर उसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करिए. अब यहाँ पे देखिए कई क्वेश्चन लंबे लंबे हैं काफ़ी, you know they are very longly phrased questions. Normally I would conclude those questions later because you want to easily get the short questions fast first. These are short questions, इनको जल्दी जल्दी कर लो. जो लॉन्ग ये शॉर्ट questions हैं इनको जल्दी जल्दी कर लो. जो लॉन्ग questions होते हैं जिनमें बहुत टेक्स्ट होता है उसमें पढ़ने में टाइम लगता है. जैसे look at this, if you start reading this then you might spend a lot of time and you might realize ये तो आता ही नहीं है. So then you will end up wasting a lot of time. So that is one of the techniques, that focus on questions or subjects that you are getting right first. Try to read the short questions first, that way it will be easier. So these are my 2 cents. This is my simple, very raw video about how you can study for prelims. I will post a lot more techniques. This is just few of the ones that I used to use. Thanks and have a good day. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.